Trigger warning. This video discusses domestic violence.
Hi, you've reached Suzanne. Please leave me a message and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Thank you.
It's only through exploring who Suzanne is can we fully piece together the picture of her absence. In the last episode, we learned about the early cycle of domestic abuse that eventually made Suzanne feel like she was stuck in the relationship with no way out. We also learned that protecting the girls was highest on her agenda, while Barry's priority was to drag the girls into their marital problems in order to use them as pawns to control their mother. Barry pretends as if Suzanne did nothing for 21 years other than sponge off him, but Suzanne did contribute when her health allowed her to. Minimising her role in the family is yet another sign of a pattern of abuse. Prior to her second battle with cancer, Suzanne was indeed a 6th grade Hamilton Heights middle school teacher in Arcadia, Indiana. This indicates she accomplished at least a bachelorette in education while battling cancer the first time. During her second battle with cancer, Suzanne would volunteer at her local church, providing lunches to students at an organisation called Young Life. Their website reads, "We go to kids, build bridges of authentic friendship, and introduce them to Jesus Christ." They say their mission is going where kids are, building personal relationships with them, providing fun, adventurous, life-changing experiences, and working in community along like-minded adults. The Young Life organisation is attached to Wilderness Ranch, where CSU undergrad students and high schoolers focus on developing a relationship with God and, quote, saying yes to life with their creator, unquote. To get a feel for Suzanne's passion for this organisation, I chose a video from Africa for 2 reasons. Firstly, anyone depicted in it are now adults. And secondly, it actually describes the purpose of what they call the Say-So, which is a daily activity that is carried out at the wilderness camps.
Have another Say-So tonight, and we specifically want to think about how you've experienced Jesus in a new and deeper way this week.
There is a time to play, there is time for fun, there is a time to cry together, there is a time for love, there is a time to teach, there is a time to learn, there is a time to plant, and there is a time for harvest. There is time for every purpose on earth. And I've also realized that our ministry is a ministry of reconciliation. It's a ministry of compassion for one another. And also our ministry helps us come together.
It's presumed Suzanne's daughters attended these adventure camps, although one might question why on earth they'd choose Mother's Day, of all days, to hold an event. Yet come 2021, it appears they did. Barry's claim that Suzanne did not contribute financially brings us to the financial abuse section of the Wheel of Power. As we already heard from Suzanne's older sister, Melinda, Suzanne had surrendered all control of their finances over to Barry from the day they were married. Here, Melinda explains how Barry used this financial control to drive a wedge between Suzanne and her family to facilitate further isolation by moving the family to Colorado.
But, you know, even Barry, I know, was, I heard through the grapevine that he had used that while Suzanne's, you know, her brothers and sisters didn't support her in her cancer treatment in Colorado. Well, what he fails to talk about is the whole thing that was going on. You know,
Right.
he tells the part that makes him look good, throws everybody else under the bus. There were a lot more things going on there. So at the time Barry and Suzanne made this move, my dad was, his wife had passed, Luann had passed in 2016. So my dad was a widower, and my brothers and my nephew had worked due diligent to get my dad's finances in order because his wife had pretty much taken care of a lot of those things. So they got his finances in order. Of course, Barry and Suzanne were going to make this move, and they wanted that big mansion of a house. And my dad happened to be visiting their home during this time, and it was kind of, oh, by the way, we're short $100,000. And my dad had this cash on hand. My brothers and all had gotten his finances, and he said, on a short term, I can loan it to you short term to get this house. I guess that's what they were short, so to speak. And which was fine. It was my dad's money. It was for him to do what he wanted, but it was going to be a very short-term loan just until their house in Arcadia sold. So, you know how sometimes those things turn out. The house doesn't sell and the loan continues and we don't see the money, right? So that created a lot of animosity with my brothers and frankly with me. I felt it was very irresponsible. The way Barry and Suzanne went about that. It did create some friction, a little distance there because our dad is very elderly and that's all he had to live on. So I do remember talking to my dad about this. I said, Dad, it's creating some real problems. And I said, why don't you just ask Barry and Suzanne for just a promissory note, very simple, just to put on file, because at your age, if something happens, you know, there's no proof, you know. And I said, that's your estate. It's good business, Dad. He said, well, honey, that's right. And I guess I will. So he made a call to Barry Morphew about it because now months had gone by and the house hadn't sold yet. So the repayment hadn't been made. And Barry's reaction to my dad was pretty startling. He said, Gene, I just can't believe you don't trust me. When my dad asked him just for a simple promissory note, he turned the tables and shamed my dad.
Sure.
And shamed him, and my dad was really taken aback. And then in the next breath said, actually, it's Suzanne you need to get the note from. She's the one who borrowed the money. So he completely extricated himself out of that responsibility, shamed my dad, and threw Suzanne under the bus at the same time. And
Yeah.
I mean, I was furious. I was absolutely furious. My dad has, as I've said, helped Barry Morphew over the years and was more generous to him even than his own sons, gave him a lot more breaks than even my brothers got. They paid full boat and went all the way, but Barry got, you know, some good treatment. And I just thought that was appalling. And so I just say all that to say, when Barry and Suzanne moved to Colorado, this was looming. This was looming in the family, and it created friction. And Suzanne, then it distanced her from all of us. Because now she owes this money, or they owe this money, and nobody's willing to do the right thing. So it did create a natural barrier. You know, not that we were upset over the money. It was the principle of just not being willing to do good business and be responsible. So I did encourage my older brother, who was really upset with Suzanne. And I said, well, you know, sometimes we just, we don't understand things. There is a thing of being ignorant, and there's nothing wrong when you don't know, you just don't know. And I said, why don't you write her a very informative email and just share with her what you're struggling with and what you hope she'll do, what you hope they will do to go forward from here, and just be transparent with her and help her to learn from this situation. Because I said, she's the baby of the family. I said, where is she going to learn this? If you need to step it up, David, and send her an email to help her see what needs to go forward. It's one thing to just know the problem, but let's get in the solution here. And for Suzanne as well, because I knew it put her in a pressure cooker with Barry. Finances put her in a pressure cooker with Barry. So I think David did, after all, he did write her an email, and they were able to have a conversation. And it wasn't too long after that they saw their way to pay my dad in whole. And that was even before the property, before the house sold. They came up with the funds and repaid the loan. So I think they were doing payments. Yes, they'd agreed to do some payments, but they did get it all paid back to him. So that was a good thing. And I think Suzanne really was the one that pushed that with Barry.
In her own text messages to Sheila, Suzanne expresses a certain distaste for the way Barry manages the finances and the secrecy he employs whenever she brings up the topic.
Went from sad yesterday to mad today. Typical for me once I think things through. No accountability on where he is. And phone off. At least it's peaceful.
That's good, at least. How was he last night when he came back?
He never came back. Said he's staying out till Friday. He has a job outside Denver that starts next Monday. He will come back to prepare for that, I guess.
I thought he just left for a bit, like a cool down. I didn't know he left for the week.
It's so messed up. He says his leg is re-injured, but he's on a mountaintop. I think he was looking for a reason to leave yesterday. Can't worry about it. He's unstable and double-minded in all his ways.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. How can you do that with a hurt leg?
Told Macy he was too hurt to stay and got her pity before he left.
You've been so strong and so patient with him for so many years.
Oh, Sheila, thank you.
It's the truth. Not sure I know a single person who could do it.
I was thinking this morning how long I had put up with disappointments and just feel him to the end. Kind of like my mom. She had a long fuse, but when she made her decision, it was firm.
You were at your end before you moved and gave him another chance to start fresh. I don't think he'll change.
I know.
The older he gets, I think it will get worse, the instability.
I was thinking of my Kokomo talks with you and how broken I was.
I would press forward thinking about a job you would enjoy and how you can live a happy and healthy life and make some what-if plans.
Yes, I've been thinking that way. I need peace.
Fast forward and think about life with him the next several years if it doesn't change.
Once Macy's gone, I won't be able to do it. I won't feel safe. I tried to hold on for her, but even she's weary of it and asking why we don't separate.
It may take some time to plan and get through all of it. I don't think it will be an easy road with him, but once you are through it, I bet it will be so much better.
I sort of wish he would just get fed up with me and leave. Does that sound bad?
Being apart may be more of a blessing for Macy, and then she doesn't have to worry all the time.
I feel so bad for her.
No, that doesn't sound bad, but you know he wants to look good, so...
Yep, he wants me to be the bad guy.
Well, if it means peace for you and the girls, you may have to.
Yes.
Does he control all the financial stuff? I worry he's been stockpiling in case of this happening.
I'm sure he has. It's a tangled web. I can't worry about that part. I've decided peace is worth more.
Just want to make sure you don't struggle financially.
I'd live in a shack right now. I'm sure he won't make it easy. He has always wanted control.
The Lord will take care of your needs. You've been so faithful now. It's time to let him carry you.
I can't do anything until we get our full payment for the house. Maybe January. Yes, I really want to talk to my sister about it. When she and John split, it was tough, but I'm sure she would have some advice.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Find someone who can advise you and help you through all the loops.
She's been able to make it on the inheritance money from Mom and Helen.
That's good. Can you do that, or does he have control of that too?
B said he would pay all that back to me. Who knows? We used it to pay for this house, and his bad decisions in silver, that's a whole other story. Very strange, he's held on to it for years, even when we were losing bank. I feel he's supporting someone else.
Yikes, that's scary.
He uses Sal as an excuse to give money to. I'll share more later. I think Sal is...
Redacted.
Praying now. On the power and control wheel, financial abuse is often accompanied by emotional abuse. And Suzanne is no stranger to either. In fact, in her own words, Suzanne describes the head games, manipulation, and gaslighting that Barry employs when discussing the finances comes up. Unfortunately, you get two different Barrys. One who is abusive and runs out, one who is manipulating, and now one who is wanting to make things right.
I stood my ground. He left again.
So thankful you stood your ground. Praying for your strength.
Told him I'm done, that I need peace. Not sure what's next.
Did he say anything? Or just walked out?
He said if that's how you feel, I'm leaving. He tries to portray something he's not and hopes he will pull me back in.
That had to be hard to do on your own, especially knowing he's manipulating the girls. He probably thinks you will never stand your ground.
Told him when we involved the girls, I was done with respecting him.
He believes you need him so he can have that hold over you.
He tried to use money as a tool, and the girls. Didn't take the bait.
I figured he would use the money, that's what I was afraid of. Keep a close eye on money. He may try to move it if or before you would file, because that freezes everything.
He said, so you want to be on your own? Want me to stop paying all your medical bills?
That is just a scare tactic. He knows he can hold money over you. Is insurance through his work right now, or do you have separate?
We bought it separately. Not cheap, but neither is the line of credit we pay every month for the silver he's dabbled in.
He will have to pay support. I'm sure he doesn't like that thought.
I told him if he got angry at all, I was filing a restraining order on him. That shocked him a bit. Kept him together, though.
I'm wondering if that is tied in to the stuff with Sal, like you said, bad investments and such. All that will have to come out if you do decide to move forward. You can't hide anything from the...
Redacted.
Take note of these last two messages sent by Suzanne. This is not the prosecution accusing Barry of being abusive. This is Suzanne, in her own words, recognizing that she is in danger.
What's the most dangerous moment in a domestic violence relationship? It's when you leave. You have decided that you're going to leave your abuser and you actually do it. That is the most dangerous time. That is when fights happen. That is when people get killed. That is when people get strangled. That's when all sorts of bad things happen. So when I talk to my clients who are planning on leaving their abusers, I tell them, look, you need to have a plan. You do this. You can coordinate with us as your divorce attorney. That's great. But do not allow your spouse to be around when you leave, because that is the most dangerous time. And that's when horrible, horrible things will happen. So you either need to call cops or have a third party like a family member there with you to ensure that you're safe. But do not leave when your abuser is around. Or if you do, absolutely have one or two extra people there to keep you safe.
If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, please call your national hotline. In Australia, that is 1-800-RESPECT or 1-800-737-732. In Canada and in America, you can call 1-800-799-SAFE. That is 1-800-799-7233. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Suzanne Morphew, please call the FBI tip line at 719-312-7530.